Hello, everybody. It's Hugh Borg. Welcome to the Borg Bunker for this Thursday in mid April, in the year of our Lord, insanity, I guess we could call it that. Anyways, I'm working on an article and if you've got any questions or some feedback or solicitation, I'm looking for some advice on how to proceed on this. I'm looking at the Canadian perspective, with of course with the United States, American geopolitical interests, and it forced me to actually get into and review what has happened over the last 14 months, which feels like a millennia of what's happened in the United States. And it when I finished these couple of paragraphs here, 2 pages here, it really made me realize how messed up our situation actually is. I mean, we get used to it as frogs in boiling water. That as the temperature gets turned up, we get used to the increasing temperature until it's too late. But this is just my first 2 paragraphs of this. If you've got any thoughts on this, I would appreciate that. Like, share, subscribe in the information below. Comment back to me. I would really appreciate your input on this. Anyways, I calling this essay that I'm trying to put together a supremely stunning storm of staggering stupid. What do we as a world do with a problem like America? A state that has done very great things in history is now currently in free fall collapse, and they are getting further insane, as they tell us that the Pope doesn't understand Catholic theology and is soft on crime, as Trump posts AI slop videos at 200 hours, at 0200 hours, as Jesus healing Epstein or Jon Stewart. I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell based on that AI presentation, but it could have been either. Sorry, John. It's no diss against John. As Trump posts AI pics of himself as the Pope, as Trump tries to be, I don't know, Shaddam Corino IV, Emperor of the Known Universe, as he threatens to use the most powerful nuclear arsenal on Earth to glass 91 million people because he considers them to be a direct threat because they don't have nukes, and he doesn't want them to have nukes, so he's going to glass them to ensure they don't have nukes. As FEMA leadership, this is insane, is being teleported, several times apparently, to a Waffle House in Rome, Georgia, as the United States blockades a blockade that blockades energy and food resources for the entire planet due to a war the U.S. started over the fact that Trump ripped up the treaty that the former president of the United States signed to deal with this. But that guy was black, so having a black dude in charge signing things is way worse than global starvation or nuclear war, so he tore up the treaty with a state who had already agreed to not build a nuclear weapon. As the United States tells everyone on Earth who ever felt any empathy or friendship towards the United States, including all friends and NATO allies, to go fuck themselves, and the USA will invade them, and Greenland, and Canada, and as NATO allies are also loading live rounds into their weapons to defend against the United States. The United States sees it as a win that NATO is upping its military spending, not understanding that the reason that we're upping our military spending is because of them, and we are concerned about them. As the White House short circuits on absolutely every single domestic or foreign policy decision they could ever make, glitching out so hard that North Korean journalists are saying, whoa, bro, dial it back a bit. You're getting crazy here. As the Democratic opposition in the United States, leadership like Chuck Schumer, chant, we will win, as long as we get to do nothing except make flaccid, sputtering fart noises, and the United States makes sure that we continue to bankroll Israel's billions of dollars in weapons support in order to keep their attempts to genocide the entire fucking Middle East going. As the United States sides with Russia and tells Ukraine to go fuck off. As the United States population collapses into ignorant insanity. As the feckless USA destroys their entire society to keep a pointless war started by Israel going. A war which the United States and Israel will never, in a gazillion years, ever even have a chance of winning. As Iran daily drops Lego rap videos that absolutely curb stomp the USA's pointlessly absurd and pathetically incoherent diplomatic efforts. As Trump builds a ballroom and mounts his shitposts of all other U.S. presidents before him on the walls. As the United States citizenry becomes so consumed by the rising tide of authoritarian fascism that they're still asking for another cup of Kool-Aid. Are they fighting back? Sort of, on the weekend, when it's in their best interest, when they don't have to get to work and they don't want to make anybody uncomfortable, and they certainly don't want to cool their heels in jail. Civil disobedience, unless your teeth are getting busted and you're getting arrested, is not working. You're not doing it well. If they let you do it, it's not effective. Consider, as Iran drops those, as Trump builds a ballroom, as a legacy from previously responsible government planning collapses under the weight of the legacy of military spending absolutely collapses under the weight of a drunken Klan clown bigot quoting Tarantino lines like it's authentic scripture. The path of the righteous man. Yeah, Hegseth actually went there this morning. As the DOJ says, everything's cool with most of the U.S. leadership being deeply involved in a pedophilic, murderous, rape espionage honeypot scandal run by Russia and probably Israel. As every single Mickey D. Frycook in the United States individually pay more for taxes annually than do all Fortune 500 corporations combined. And it's only 2 p.m. this afternoon, so we don't know what's going to happen next. So this is unhinged and insane and very hard to process. I mean, like this morning, I wake up to the news that a dude who is in charge of FEMA, Federal Emergency Management Agency, which deals with natural disasters, apparently he got teleported 50 kilometers or 50 miles or something like that from his car to a Waffle House parking lot in Rome, Georgia. Like the amount of insanity and crazy here is so off the charts. Like it's very difficult to process. Perhaps that's part of the rollout. And I would imagine that there are people within the American government who are using this level of shock as a way of keeping the ball rolling here. From a Canadian perspective, from a world perspective, from a global perspective, though, from an Iranian perspective, Pakistani, Chinese, NATO, this means that functionally we cannot make deals or any sort of agreements or build any sort of trust or even have a rational conversation with the United States, the home of one of the largest stockpiles of nuclear weapons on the planet, which now thinks that Trump is Jesus, or some people in the United States think Trump is Jesus. Their military is absolutely lockstep with whatever it is that they're told to do by these lunatics. So do not expect the military or the American bureaucracy anymore to be able to stand in the way of this, because they are so corrupted and they have been so lobotomized by the entire Trump process in the last 14 months. There's simply no roadblocks left there. So what do we do? And this is a question. Please drop your thoughts in the comments, because I'm looking and begging for answers here. How the hell do we as a planet deal with a state that was essentially built the entire world around their globalization and economic needs, which they did very well and lasted for a very long time after the Second World War, but now have gone functionally insane? How do we deal with this without nukes? Because all I can see in the future here is if the war goes south in Iran, which of course it will, either Israel, if the United States pulls out and moves back to their territory, will probably have to go Samson option because they're out of options, and the United States will no longer be able to support them because the United States will be dealing with an economic death spiral, hyperinflationary period. They'll make the Weimar Republic look like a happy, well-managed economy. And then the United States is in such chaos and starvation and privation because now we're gone from the energy shock. We've gone from the oil shock. We're now into oil starvation territory. Once that starts to bite in, and once the fertilizer starts to bite in, once we start to see drops in global food supplies and energy is absolutely down, I believe this morning spot oil was close to closing on like the oil that you actually, if you want to buy a barrel of oil, 45-gallon drum of oil in the Middle East, and you just walk up there with your pickup truck and you want to buy a barrel of oil, that costs you about $200 now for actual physical oil. When we are at that point, what happens next? How do we deal with a state that is going to be throwing itself into this much chaos? I can clearly see an avenue, a purpose, or a process where the United States splits into factions. It'll probably look like that movie Civil War that came out a couple of years ago, except I don't think it'll be that low intensity. I think this will be rather more high intensity, and I can easily see, based on Trump's treatment of blue cities and what people are thinking about the what they call them, the sanctuary cities and things like that. Given that the United States in their last civil war in the 1860s, that war all by itself killed more Americans than all other wars that they have fought since, and they fought a lot, put together. That tells me that if there are nukes in the table, if there are nukes in the United States, they might even nuke each other. For Canada, that's going to be a big, huge problem because we're actually on the border. Anyways, thoughts from the Borg bunker. We'll see what happens this week. This weekend we might see some changes, but I don't think they'll be for the better. I hope I'm wrong. Please hope I'm wrong. But anyways, but I would appreciate your thoughts and your comments and your opinions about what our policy should be as a global community, as well as Canadians, going forward and moving forward and trying to figure out how to manage the chaos. This is not going away. This is not going to get any better all by itself. We are going to be massively affected by this, more than we already are. This is going to absolutely devastate Canada as well. And yeah, but it's spring. It's getting warm outside. Recommend you grow a garden. Might need the calories this winter. But for now, from the Borg bunker, that's all I've got. So Hugh of Borg out. Please like, share, subscribe. Share me on all your internet feeds. I haven't gotten into TikTok or anything like that yet. I probably should, I guess. I'm trying to talk to people. But I'm old. I don't know what I'm doing. So I'll figure it out as I go along. Anyways, you guys have yourselves a great day. And we'll talk to you soon.